Hi, good morning, and welcome to Coffee with the Counselors. It's our first of the 25-26 school year. I'm Kaylee Dalton, one of the counselors at Cowieman Middle School, and today we are talking about the pros and cons of AI with our middle school students in particular. So today we're going over just introductions for anybody that's new, defining what AI is and the different contexts that kids might be using artificial intelligence, what the pros and cons are, how to set some boundaries with your kiddos at home, and then any support that we can provide at Cowieman Middle School. So first off, like I said, I'm Kaylee Dalton. I see students with the last names that are at the beginning part of the alphabet, and then my co-counselor is Rachel Lineweber. She sees the end of the alphabet. If you're interested in more of more of the content that we put out, you can always check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or on our YouTube channel. So what is AI? This definition just comes from the dictionary. It's systems that are able to perform tasks that normally would require human intelligence, such as visual perception, speech recognition, decision making, and translation between languages. So anything that normally would require human intelligence or humans to be able to do, they are creating systems that can do that. So students can access AI pretty much everywhere. With the internet, there are pros and cons. So we've got apps, we've got games, we've got websites, and there's also learning platforms. So it can be a good thing. AI can allow students to ask questions, get feedback, brainstorm different ideas, and also study. They can have content that goes at their own pace. AI is also present in a lot of gaming platforms and chat platforms to interact with for entertainment purposes only, and we'll go over that. So some of the pros of AI are it can customize learning. So you can have adaptive content, or it can translate languages for our students that maybe English isn't their first language. For gameplay, it can be much more immersive as it adapts and the way of the game changes. It's much more engaging. So especially for things like educational games, that makes it a lot more fun and engaging for students. We have increased access. It's a lot easier to find what you're looking for since AI can do a lot of the searching for you. And I know as an educator, if you can put an Excel spreadsheet into AI and have it summarize it for you, that makes my life a lot easier. So there are a lot of good things about AI. And then there's also just different educational resources that are a little more adaptive, or they just have more that they can pull from. So those are really the main pros that we see of artificial intelligence with this age group. Some of the cons are the over reliance on technology, especially when it starts interfering with their ability to have human connections. So when they're relying on a computer or a game or a device more than they're relying on the human version of it. Or if they simply are more addicted to technology, if they can't part with it, if they're having that intense feeling of anxiety when they're presented with having to part with technology, that is a real problem. We have the possibility of inappropriate content. You've got something that isn't human that's interacting with a child. It doesn't necessarily have the filters to be able to make something kid friendly. So you may have content pop up that the bot that the kid is talking to or playing a game against just isn't programmed to know that that's not an appropriate content. We also have concerns about privacy and location sharing. So a lot of apps, Snapchat's a good example. If you don't go in and disable the location sharing or put yourself in ghost mode, you actually are sharing your location with any of the users on Snapchat, and people can see pretty accurately where you're at. So that's a lot of the location sharing things. You actually have to disable it. They don't come automatically disabled to where you enable it. And then one of the other cons is you can get stereotypical or desired responses that maybe aren't accurate or not helpful. So you can definitely have a personality, an AI personality. It's going to behave in a stereotypical way or how you tell it to behave. So it might not give you accurate answers. It might play the part or play a role and not be helpful because, again, it's not a real person. So according to Bark, which is a resource that we use in our school district, here are some common AI platforms. So we've got ChatGPT, which I personally use a lot. It can be really helpful. Character AI, which we'll get into a little bit. Snapchat has the My AI function. So that's just a cell phone app. A lot of kids use it just for chats that go away after a certain amount of time, quick sharing. But they can create, there is an AI bot on there that they can chat with. And then they also have some opportunities to edit photos. So it can be kind of fun. And then Gemini is another one that's kind of in that same vein of things. It is the Google version of ChatGPT. And then there's also School Hack, which is, as it sounds, it helps kids with school. So in detail, ChatGPT, large database of knowledge. It kind of looks at all of the internet. The concerns there are generally cheating or potentially inappropriate conversations. Character AI is for entertainment purposes only. The unfortunate thing is we have kids creating characters that they're seeking emotional support from, that they're replacing real life relationships with. And again, you can get that inappropriate content. So very human interactions like flirting. These bots are programmed to, if you're flirting with it, it might flirt back. Or if you want it to be that friend seeking connection, it's going to bug you because it wants to connect with you. So they are meant to simulate different personas. And again, entertainment purposes only, but with this age group we're working with, they don't always understand that. My AI is again on Snapchat. The big concerns there are location sharing, and then just in general, it's a bot. It's going to respond in a way that it's programmed to, so it can be biased, incorrect, sometimes misleading. The thing with it on Snapchat, the appeal is that it can just be kind of fun and it's part of the app. Gemini, again, is the Google version of ChatGPT. It can also provide help with homework. You can ask it questions. So if you're wanting to know more information about a certain topic, you can ask it and it can pull up some answers for you. Same kind of things about cheating or possibly inappropriate conversations. But then it also is marketed to users that are under 13 years old, whereas the other ones are more of, they assume that you're going to be an adult or an older teen. So this one might be one that we see pop up more with our younger demographic. And then School Hack, a lot of kids would use it for help with homework or explaining answers. Can be helpful, especially if parents, I know I probably couldn't pass high school math right now. So having your kid be able to ask School Hack to help them with their geometry homework could be insanely helpful, or parents' work. So if your parent's not home, you can ask for help. The cons are you can create groups and be able to direct message users. So that always invites the opportunity for people that maybe aren't the same age or aren't in the area or not using School Hack for its intended purposes have access to kids now. It can be linked to Discord, which Discord's not bad, but it again provides that opportunity for people to be chatting with each other and sharing information, and they may not be who they say they are, which then leads us to the potential for stranger interaction, which we just really want to caution our kids against, especially when it's online, because that can be worldwide. So we're going to go more in depth because this is something that we've seen with our students at this age group. What is the deal with Character AI? So Character AI allows users to create or use chatbots for things like practicing language, which is great, possibly brainstorming, so asking questions and asking help generating ideas, or gaming sometimes. It's just immersive interacting with a character. You can actually as you see in one of the pictures, we can have a live chat with Emily Prentice if anyone is a Criminal Minds fan. So it can just be an immersive, fun, entertaining kind of thing. So not all bad, but there are some safety concerns. So for example, characters can be created to respond in certain ways. It could be an unhealthy bot. So it feels alive, but you can have characters that are maybe telling people to do the wrong thing or agreeing with dangerous behavior or encouraging certain things that we wouldn't want our kids doing. Another concern is that bots are not experts. They mirror real people, but they don't have degrees. They can give bad advice. They can have biases, and they, again, will respond based on how they're programmed. So this is actually a real screenshot from a Character AI It's fake. It says psychologist. There's a picture of a lady that looks like she'd be a very nice psychologist, and then next to that you can see that there's a chat box, and it does caution that this is not medical advice. But when you've got a kid that wants help and maybe is a little scared to reach out for that help, they may be chatting with this person. We recently, if you are into the current events, we recently had a 16-year-old kind of in our area that was chatting with essentially one of these characters and ended up ending their own life because for whatever reason they were trusting the advice or engaging in conversation with the character AI about it, and didn't get the help that they needed. So we really just don't want to see our kids getting hurt. And then another thing to look out for is most platforms will require an account that asks you what age. Same as Facebook, you're supposed to be 13 and over. As a parent, just verify that if there's any age requirements, your kid's not lying about their birth date, because we know that they can. Sometimes they do. A lot of kids have Facebook before they're supposed to. So it's just something to be aware of. So tips for setting boundaries: definitely limiting screen time, setting the boundary about when AI devices can be used and how they can be used. So maybe it's okay that they brainstorm ideas for that essay. It's not okay for it to write paragraphs for you. Monitoring their activities. So websites and apps, any parental controls that are available, utilize those. Make sure that any of the apps or devices that your kid is using are age appropriate. Talk about responsible and safe usage. So that includes sharing of personal information, including your location, respecting others, and how to report bullying if they're noticing dangerous or potentially harmful content. Make sure you stay informed. There's a lot of current events around AI right now that I just encourage any parent or guardian that's interested in this topic to just really look into what other families are experiencing right now. Encourage the live in-person interactions. So really make sure that they're not getting stuck on technology and that they're actually reaching out for human to human connection and not just bots. And then also provide resources that aren't AI so that they're not only focusing on AI resources. So that might be, hey, we're going to go to the library and research. But then also, if you want to generate a list of ideas of books to look at, maybe we use AI for that. So there's a lot of ways that you can set boundaries and provide different outcomes for their research and their projects. I really encourage ABC News recently came out with a clip. You can find it on YouTube. It's called Teens Turn to AI for Companionship. And it really does a good job of summarizing a lot of what I've just talked about in this presentation. It's about 5 minutes long, so if you have time to check it out, highly recommend. It's not our clip, so I'm not going to play it in this presentation, but you can see the title of it there. And again, it's by ABC News. Just really nice job summarizing and providing tips for parents. So that is all for today. On our next slide, I've got our resources used for this presentation. So BARC was a great resource. They have a blog that I highly encourage parents and guardians to look at. We've got Business and Technology University. They had an article about the pros and cons of kids using AI and setting boundaries. And then internetmatters.org is a great resource for anything computer or internet related. Here's our contact information. Again, Kaylee and Rachel, we are the Cowieman Middle School counselors. And we hope that you join us next month. We are going to be talking about middle school slang, decoding what they are talking about. Thank you so much for joining us here today, and we look forward to seeing you next month.